issues with the Olympics, and she said, did you hear about the two female runners who were denied and almost denied entry into the gate because they didn't arrive on the team bus? A rule was made and or changed overnight and was not sent out to inform everybody. I did not know about that, Katie. I'm sorry. I must have missed that one. I'll see if I can track down a little bit more info. Maybe we'll get into that a little later in the program. I had not heard that, though. No, I hadn't. I've been trying to keep up the best I can with the Olympics. There's just a lot of events. There's a lot of sports and a lot of stuff going on. Also, you know, the time difference and when people are doing things and when people aren't. I know Dover native Hunter Armstrong won another silver yesterday, from what I understand. I saw that at WKYC.com yesterday. That's fantastic news, right? More impressive than anything I'll ever do, for crying out loud, so shout out to him. But we had been talking a little bit about the Olympics. Something else happened yesterday, and I would admit that I am no expert in this field. But we had a little bit of it all depends on who you ask. Did we see a stock market crash yesterday, or did we see a correction? And this is one of those annoying things about life. Whoever's in charge at the moment tells you just a correction. And the opposition is like, crash, terrible, right, and all these things. And vice versa. You put the, you know what I mean? You're in there, it's like, it's the way it goes, up and down, no rhyme or reason, right? And whoever's in charge is telling you, it's just a correction, and whoever the opposition is always going to tell you. And don't make it about the two people running right now. What I'm saying is holds true no matter who the candidate is. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it, because I've been a little critical of Kamala Harris. I did not like her as the pick as VP to run with Biden. And I had said, what we're seeing now is one of the reasons why when they picked her. I said, I don't like this. I said, I feel like I know what's happening here, and I don't love it. And I don't love it. And I'm not all that impressed with her as a candidate. I'm not. But I saw everybody, not everybody, but more than enough people jumping up and down on that woman yesterday because of what we saw with the stock market. I think that may be a little unfair. A little unfair. I think there is definitely some CEO hesitancy with her, for sure. I think that's probably true. But what we saw yesterday was stocks in free fall. Crypto bros took it in the teeth. And I'm in some crypto, but and I said when I got into it, I'm not emptying out the rest of my portfolios or anything to get into crypto. I was like, I'm just adding to what I'm doing with it. Crypto got, and I mean just hammered yesterday. Hammered. All the Wall Street bets, you know, and all of those accounts online were all like, you know, putting their Wendy's uniforms on in their videos and all that stuff. And at least they had a little sense of humor.
Oh, son
like one of the memes
bitch.
I saw yesterday was like, welcome back to your part-time job. How was the moon? Right? Because everybody kept saying about these meme coins, to the moon, to the moon, to the moon, right? And there was a little bit in free fall yesterday. Crypto took it, and I mean, in the teeth. I lost a ton of money in a bunch of my positions. Now, I'm invested more than one way. I actually have a guy who looks over my stuff for most of my investment. And then I have what is called a dumb money account. And again, Wall Street Bets kind of helped coin that term. That's what that movie was about, with the game insurance and this and the 401k, and I got all that. Fine, okay, fine. Created a little bit of a dumb money account just to have someone play around with it. And in that account, that's where I bought my, which is, they make all kind of stuff in tech and chips and all of that kind of stuff. But they made the graphics card in my gaming PC. And I didn't know all that much about them, but when I bought that PC, gamer nerds were like, yo, bro, you got the RTX 860 in it? Or whatever the hell it was. I was like, yeah. They're like, dude, that's the thing. That's what you want. I was like, no idea. You're speaking French to me, man. No clue what the hell it is you're talking about. So then a buddy of mine who's a little bit more in the field was like, dude, get into NVIDIA. What are you doing? Buy in. So I bought it, and I got it pre-split, and it split, and they got, and I mean absolutely hammered yesterday. Hammered. I mean, just in free fall. A little bit. It ended up okay, a little bit better, closer to okay by the end of the day. But early it looked pretty bad. Really bad. Now, I wasn't going to get all that hurt in that a little bit, because again, I was in pre-split. So it's, I mean, you really got to wait until things zero out of that. Anywho, that's not the point to tell you. So I saw something happen yesterday. And people started to talk about an issue that was going on while the stocks were in free fall. And anytime I'm in this room, I'm still in show mode. And I'm mostly in show mode 24/7. But what I'm saying is when I see somebody say something online, this is happening and nobody's talking about it. If I'm in this studio, the first I go into show mode, defensive. No, it's not. Watch this. I bet I can prove. Watch this. What they were saying was happening is nobody could get into their accounts. And they put up a photo, and it was like most of the dumb money places people go, right? Like I started with TD Ameritrade, they got swallowed by Schwab, and so they moved me over into Schwab. So there was that one and Robinhood, and there was about 6 others in this photo. And it says nobody can get into their accounts while this is happening. And I was like, that's BS. Yes, you can. I can get into my account. Watch. And I went to go and get into my account. Sign-in services not available at the moment. That's suspicious. If stocks are in free fall, and more than one supplier, change is, I believe, is how they're referred. If more than one of them is experiencing the same issue and nobody's come out and said, we had an industry-wide bug in our system or this, then you were manipulating, right? And you were worried about people getting in and dumping things off, right? Or were you worried they were going to go in and buy all those defense contractor stocks that went up yesterday while everything was going down? Were you worried some of us poors were going to do that? Is that what maybe you were a little worried about? Because the poors have gotten smarter and they do know what to do and they do know to watch their senators and their congressmen and where their money goes and learn to invest in that? Is that what you were worried about? Some of the poors were going to turn themselves into riches? Is that maybe what that was a little bit yesterday? Because it feels like that. I don't love that. We saw this with Robinhood during the GameStop short. During that whole issue. They stopped trading. Why did they do that? Because the poors were getting rich. And the rich can't have that, baby. They don't want us up there. I have a buddy who's all in on crypto, and he goes, I feel stupid. He's like, because I feel like at the end of the day, somebody is going to shut all of this down because they don't want blue collar people on their level financially. He's like, and Dan, and crypto can do that for people. It is doing it for people. And they're going to be worried. Now, I had that conversation with him like 2 years ago. I mostly think the crash yesterday, whatever. The free fall of the stocks yesterday is about the fact that most people around the world have been able to tell for about 6 months, maybe we go into another war now. Oh, and by the way, we still got 2 wars going on. So we're about to have a third now, and we kind of know that. And so I think that's where some of that is like, okay, we know what happens. We're going to go to war. Companies are going to get tight. There's going to be a lot of spending, and a bunch of people are about to be laid off with the rollout of more and more AI. And then you throw all of those things in together, and there you get a little free fall. I kind of expected a little bit, but depending on who's in charge, correction or crash, depending on who that is. And all of that, people can argue it out. But when you aren't letting anybody get into those, and again, there was like 6 exchanges, and some of the biggest ones there is, when you can't get into your account to either dump stocks off or pick stuff up, and you're not letting us sign in, I'm telling you, that felt coordinated, and I can't believe that's not what more people are talking about this morning surrounding that issue. 9 a.m. this morning, I'll get you hooked up with your first keyword. That puts $1,000 in your hand and also sends you to the iHeartRadio Music Festival. 9 a.m. that first keyword. Also New Turd Tuesday at 9. You know, we had been talking a little bit about the stock market in free fall yesterday. I lost a lot of money. Now, the thing about the stock market is, did I really lose the money? Well, not yet. You don't lose until you sell low, right? It's kind of one of those things. It's like, it's all just numbers on the screen at this point. If things bounce, and it's a big if, but if everything bounces back, you'll be fine, right? Depending on what you're in. We also talked a little bit about how defense contractor stocks went through the roof yesterday. And I feel like a lot of people, myself included, and probably you as well, have been feeling like, oh, dude, more wars coming. It's imminent. Like it's literally on our doorstep, right? You see some unrest yesterday in the UK. We still have the Ukraine issue going on. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, and that will usually create some instability in the market, right? People want to point fingers and this and that. Look, I'm no fan of Kamala Harris, but I don't think what we saw yesterday is directly related to her. Are there going to be a lot of CEOs and corporations who are a little nervous about her being a leader? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Clearly, some of the people in her own party are worried about it. Otherwise, guys, we would have already had the VP announcement. I think they're suffering with the issue of guys want to run in the future and are afraid to be attached to her right now. I think that's what happened with Pete. Because Pete was like, I got a good chance to be president on my own. Have fun with that. That's just what I think I see. Not necessarily an expert on that, but that's how that feels. But I don't think we can necessarily sling everything we saw yesterday around her neck. I don't know if that's necessarily fair. And then we got into talking about how people could not get into their exchanges. Schwab and the like. Now that one comes top of mind for me because that's who I use. I use a couple of different investment strategies, and I have a guy who kind of like deals with all of that stuff, but then I have what people call a dumb money account. I took, I don't know, you know, and it's not important how much, just maybe something, but I, you know, put some money in that, and like, you know, and I've been toying with it for the last handful of years, and I've made some money, right? I wanted to see, I was like, dude, can I gamble with this a little bit and make a little bit of money? And I have, and I've done all right, right? Now I've taken a wash on some things too, that happens, and all of my, not all of my crypto, but a lot of the crypto yesterday was like, bye-bye, Dan, see ya, right? And we'll see what happens with that. And I started to talk about how people were pointing out yesterday on X, nowhere on the TV, by the way, but on X, people were starting to point out, oh my God, you cannot get into your exchanges. And I was still in the room. And I was like, oh, I know what this is. This is another one of these X conspiracy things that take off and people are looking to engagement farm and blah, blah, blah. I was like, watch, I'll get into my account right now. I tried to get into my account and couldn't. Weird. So I went home. I was like, and I'm all in again. Grabbing. And so I had trouble most of the day getting in the... So I was like, well, wait a minute. Who funded Robinhood was like, we're taking it in the teeth here, bro. Shut that down. Do it now. And did. And that was a thing. And so yesterday felt like to me,